Just got out of seeing Wakanda Forever. This is a no spoiler review, completely spoiler free. My spoiler review will be dropping on Saturday, probably once everyone's seen the movie. I'm gonna keep this very short, simple, and sweet. Very entertaining movie. Um, I really liked the villain a bit more than I thought I was going to. He has some pretty good motivations, and you see where he's coming from. The actor, some parts he was really good, some parts he was boring, but overall, I really liked the villain. Um, the cinematography is great. Sometimes even better than the first one. Sometimes not. It's like 50-50. Where this movie really um, worked for me was the music. The music was phenomenal. I loved it. They have a couple of songs in there mixed in with the original score. Ryan Coogler produced this movie with a lot of care, and you can tell. Another thing that I really like is it does not feel like a MCU movie. It feels very much like its own thing, and that was a breath of fresh air. This isn't a spoiler, but there is one scene after the mid credits, but there's not a post credit scene. In the mid credit scene, they didn't have to do it, but they did it in a very, very respectful way. But don't think it's going to lead to you seeing like the big bad for the next movie. It's nothing like that. It's a lot more emotional, and they did a really good job. Very, very emotional movie. And I would say I felt the emotion for like 80% of the time. The other 20%, sometimes I couldn't get behind it because I sometimes wanted them to stop bringing a certain subject up, and they kept doing it, and I kind of wanted the plot just to keep going. But all in all, emotion wise, I'd give it like an 8 out of 10. I almost cried. I didn't. But it really helps when you see a big movie like this. The theater was fucking packed. I mean packed, like sold out. There was a lot of little kids. And for the amount of people that were in that theater, I'm so happy. Like, everyone wasn't talking during the emotional moments. No one ruined the tension. You couldn't hear, like, no one talking. You could hear a fucking pencil drop in that theater. Man, it was so quiet and nice. The beginning, there's a little tribute to Chadwick. You get two of them. There's one at the beginning when they do the Marvel Studios thing, and then you get another one right at the end of the movie. And then obviously, they have to address what happened to Black Panther in the movie, and I think they did a really good job of not overdoing it for the most part, and just at some point they just let that go when they move on, and I really appreciated that. One of the things that this movie is missing, though, is the villain was good, but by the end, it really, after the big battle and the conclusion that they come to, it feels really, not rushed, but just what was the point kind of thing. And the last thing that was kind of a bummer for me was, like, I know Chadwick Boseman, people don't want him to be recasted, but I'm not being sexist or anything. The girl, Shuri being Black Panther, sorry, everyone knows that, it's not a spoiler. It's cool, but Chadwick Boseman had that charisma. Shuri doesn't really bring that as an actor. She doesn't really have the charisma. The girl that plays her does a decent job, but it's very hard to like her character. I wasn't even a huge fan of her in the first one, so I'm not bashing her just because of her being the new Black Panther. There is going to be a new one, I believe, by some things that happen in this movie, but I could be wrong. They don't tell you that, but it's just a thought I had in the back of my head. But we need more of a male lead for this role. She was just lacking in that charisma. The fight scenes she was in weren't really that engaging, and her acting felt like she was trying a bit too hard to step into his shoes. And like I said, I'm not being sexist, but we need a recast for a male Black Panther. And I know Chadwick Boseman was awesome, but the man only had one Black Panther movie. We don't need, but I personally want at least one or two with a male lead, because it's not that this is because she's a female, it's because of the character. And in the movie, they do a good job of, she's not Black Panther right away. Like the first two acts are like a lot of build up. But when she does get the Panther suit, it feels so like unearned story wise and all that. So it wasn't really grabbing me. But after that, the movie kept me entertained for the most part. Pretty good ending for the Wakandan characters. And the only part I didn't like about the ending was how it leaves off with her villain. But other than that, like I said, very emotional, great music, good fight scenes. There is a bit too many quick cuts, but they're really good. I gotta go back and watch the first one again, because I want to say these fight scenes they look better, but I think the first one had better, like not as much editing done. Sometimes here it felt like there was a lot of choppiness. But on the bright side, we do get to see people in a Marvel movie actually stab someone. No, there's no blood, but I mean, it's better than them cutting away. So if you want to check out my spoiler review, that'll be dropping on Saturday. Those are really my thoughts. All in all, I give this movie a 7 out of 10. Very good experience, very emotional. But at the same time, this movie had to be made like the way it was. I don't know, they could have just recasted Chadwick Boseman. A lot of people might not like that opinion that I have about that, but you gotta move on at some point. Eventually, there will be another Iron Man. I know Robert Downey Jr. isn't dead, but he had a very epic ending in Endgame. And if he gets recast, I mean, people will lose their minds. But we all know, all of us will still go and see the movie because we like these characters so much. Thank you guys for watching. Check you later.